Welcome to the Realtor Who Wines Podcast. I'm Rashelle Newmyer, your hostess with the mostest, a student of life, a connector, a passionate wine enthusiast, and your local favorite guide. Join me as we explore the vibrant Pacific Northwest, savor the finest wines, and champion the spirit of entrepreneurship. Each episode, I'll sit down with inspiring guests, supporting business ownership, and uncovering the stories that make this community unique. So grab a glass of wine, settle in, and let's embark on a journey of discovery and connection together. Cheers! Hi there, so good to see you. I can't believe that you're back for season 2 of the Realtor Who Wines. Thank you so much for tuning in and for listening or watching on YouTube. Cheers! Oh man, that's good. I got this wine actually over break. I stayed. If you watched or listened to season 1, we did an episode at the Cooper House B&B in Independence, and I loved it so much. It was so cute. So I decided to go back and stay the night. And while I was there, I popped over to Eola Hills, which is what I'm drinking today. Their Pinot Noir, their 2020 Barrel Select Reserve. Their venue, super cute. They have a great event space, a wide selection of wine. I definitely want to go back. In fact, Eola Hills, if you're listening, I'd love to have you on the podcast. So please reach out. But thank you to everyone that listened or watched season 1 of the Realtor Who Wines podcast. It means the world to me. When I started this journey last year, I just wanted another way to connect with the community and share the stories of different leaders, business owners, entrepreneurs, real estate professionals with all of you. And I thought, let me do a podcast. That could be a great way to showcase and highlight these different individuals. And I was hoping that you would be into it, and you guys were into it. And thank you so much for your support. Not only did I appreciate it, but all of the small business owners and leaders that were on the podcast last year really also appreciated your support and for tuning in and for checking out their businesses after listening to the podcast. So if you didn't listen, welcome. We're happy to have you. If this is your first time with us, we get together and talk to. Normally this podcast is me and a guest, and it's like sharing a glass of wine with a friend. We have a conversation, like if you were to go wine tasting with us, what are we talking about? And so I sit down with a guest and talk about their story, their journey, their business, hardships, things they've overcome. The whole concept around the podcast is to inspire and educate and just be a student of life, which I am. And I love to be, and I love learning from everybody and their own specialty and their own thing. So I hope that you like that too, and that you will come along with us. Season 1 was jam-packed with interviews between real estate professionals, wine industry pros, entrepreneurs, thought leaders, business leaders, people heavily involved in the community. And season 2 is going to be a lot of that, plus with a little extra twist. We are expanding the region that we're covering. Last year we focused a lot on the Willamette Valley and Oregon, and this year we're going to spread out not only throughout Oregon, but also a little bit throughout the country. I'm really excited to share some of those details with you coming up here soon. And then also, there are a few weeks we normally have an episode that goes live every Wednesday. And there's some weeks that have 5 Wednesdays in it. So the 5th Wednesdays, any of the months that there's 5 Wednesdays, we're actually going to have guests that aren't in studio, but broadcasting with me live over the internet so that you can tune in. We might even do it as a social media live as well as a podcast episode, but it's going to just be a little extra pour for you for that month to keep the podcast just streaming and available for all of you that love to listen on a weekly basis. I mentioned that we're going to expand outside of Oregon. As a lot of you know, I'm heavily involved in Oregon real estate with the Oregon Realtors and with the Portland Realtor Association, and also within Women's Council of Realtors. So I do travel because of real estate, which a lot of people think is funny. They're like, aren't you a realtor? Shouldn't you just be specializing in your local area or just be in your area? But homeownership is so much more than just opening doors. A lot of us real estate professionals actually go to the Capitol, we go to legislation, and we advocate on your behalf to get certain measures pushed through, laws changed, permit requirements change, like all these things that can really impact home ownership, housing, how the loans work, how you can qualify, first-time home buyer programs, things like that. And I've been really fortunate to travel the last few years to Washington, D.C. with Oregon Realtors and my local association of PMAR and Women's Council of Realtors to advocate at the Capitol on the behalf of Oregon and all of you for different home ownership rights. And this year, the podcast is coming with me. So I'm pretty excited. You're going to get to see some live footage and coverage while we're in DC advocating on your behalf. You'll really get a sneak peek look. And another cool thing is some of the guests I'm going to have on during that month while we're in DC will be special, and somebody I don't always get to have a glass of wine with. So I hope that you stay tuned and check that out. That reminds me, since the last time we sat down for a glass of wine, I've had a few title changes. I recently became the sales manager at Coldwell Banker Professional Group. I was already mentoring agents, but now I mentored them at an even higher level. And instead of a few agents, I'm in charge of helping agents in 2 different offices in the Portland metro. I am still a full-time real estate agent. This is just something I'm doing a lot more during the day to help other agents grow and be able to service their clients. And then I am on the board this year for 2026 with the Oregon Realtors, and I'm on the board for the Portland Realtor Association, as well as I'm still on the board for Women's Council of Realtors, which you're like, hello, when do you have time to sell houses? Trust me, it still happens. I'm still available for showings and helping those of you that want to relocate to Oregon or relocate out of Oregon or just change your neighborhood. A really cool title that I've been given this year through the National Association of Realtors and through the Oregon Realtors is FPC, and that stands for Federal Political Coordinator. And that means I'm actually assigned a person in legislation, like a councilwoman, a senator, a governor, to be the liaison between Oregon real estate and them. So I bring your stories to them on behalf of the other realtors as well. So agents can also reach out to me and say, hey, my clients are really struggling with this, or it would be so great if permitting changed this way. And so not just when we go to the Hill and do our visits once a year, but this is an ongoing conversation that we have with our legislation. And so there are different people put in positions to be that correspondent. And I'm very fortunate and honored this year to be an FPC for the district that I live in and for the councilwoman that represents my district. So that's super exciting and new for me. That reminds me, a lot of you have reached out asking, how can I be a guest on your podcast? I'd like to share my story. Would you feature my wine? Would you come visit my business? And first of all, I just want to say, wow, thank you very much. I super appreciate it. I'm very grateful and humble that so many of you have already reached out asking to be guests, featured, sponsors. Season 1 was a learning curve, obviously. I've never done a podcast before, and so we were just growing last year and kind of just getting our feet wet. I would love for all of you to continue reaching out. Right now, the best way to get in contact with me is through Instagram at Realtor Who Wines, or you can email me at realtorrashelle@realtorrashelle.com. or send me a private message through YouTube, which is also Realtor Rashelle. We are working on a formal website and a way to apply, but for right now, we're keeping it casual and we're still growing, so please just feel free to reach out in any of those ways, and I'd love to talk to you about it and see if it's a good fit, if timing works, and then also, please tell me more about your wine. I want to know all about it. Also, thank you to those of you that have reached out asking for certain topics or guests or certain things that you want to learn. If you have a topic or a guest, or like you're like, I don't want to be on a podcast, do not call me to be on your podcast, but so-and-so would be great. I also want to hear from you. Or you can always just comment too on videos, like any topic that we're talking about, and you hope that we go a little bit deeper. And a lot of the guests that I had on last year really do want to engage with the podcast community that we've built here. And so even if you comment on any reels that you see or on the episodes on YouTube, or sometimes you can also comment like on Apple Music and Spotify and all that, we will do our best to answer those questions or address those comments, especially if it's pertaining to a certain guest. So just make sure to tag me and so that I see it. But we would love to continue the conversation even once each episode ends. And then if there's something you're really, really hoping to see in season 2, now is the time to tell me, because we're booking guests throughout the rest of the year. But I'd love to show and highlight conversations that you want to hear and businesses that you want to see, or behind the scenes of different businesses that you would like to learn more about. So definitely reach out. Don't hesitate. Feedback is always welcome here. As you know, I am a real estate agent. So of course, in season 2, we are going to talk about real estate, what's going on in the market, what's going on in different trends. And as I mentioned, we go to the Capitol and advocate for home ownership rights. And that's not just in Oregon. I specifically speak to a lot of legislation about Oregon, but we also speak to legislation at large about things that impact us nationally when it comes to home ownership. So with that being said too, I'm always here to answer your real estate questions, whether they're Oregon related or nationally. I specialize in relocation, so I really enjoy helping someone transition into Oregon as well as transitioning out. And because of all the different leadership roles that I hold, I know some amazing agents all across the United States. So if you're transitioning away from Oregon, please reach out to me and I can help you and partner you with the right agent in the area that you're going to make sure that you're in good hands. But then also you're not there blind and just like randomly selecting somebody. I can really help vet an agent for you and make sure that you're with someone that's like educated and understands what your home transition looks like. And then same if you're transitioning in, I would love to be your guide. I'd love to welcome you to Oregon. You already know I know where great wine is, right? And other things as well as restaurants, shops, all of that stuff. So please don't hesitate to reach out. But throughout season 2, we will continue to talk about the different market trends, what happens when rates drop, what happens when rates go up, what does some of the headlines you're seeing in the news, what do they really mean? How do they impact you in home ownership? So I will have some of the best in our industry on the podcast, and you can hear it straight from them. So if real estate is something you're super interested in, whether you're a realtor or someone that's into home ownership, building your equity and your home wealth, we'll have topics for all of you. Don't forget, when you're engaging with us online, whether you're watching the reels, watching the podcast, or listening to the podcast, please comment and share, and also tell us where you're from. What's your favorite wine? If you're not a wino, that's fine. What do you like to drink? What do you sip on? When I'm not having wine, it's normally coffee, or if it's evening time and I'm not having wine, I'm a bourbon whiskey girl. So I like to hear all about it. As you know, I'm in Oregon. We're a huge micro-beer we're in micro-beer country, is what I'm trying to say. I was going to say company, but we are in that company as well. So I love hearing too about hops and all the different breweries and things. Part of the reason I started this podcast was to showcase agriculture and what actually goes into winemaking. Plus, as a realtor, I'm always fascinated about buying and selling land. What does it mean to lease land? How do farmers take over leases? Things like that. So I really wanted to showcase that, and it doesn't have to stop with grapes. We live in a vast area where berries are huge, sugar beets, hops, as I mentioned, so grass seed. So there's a lot of things that we can talk about. So if any of these things spark your interest, please share and comment with us. Let us know where you're from, and let us know what's in the glass. One thing I love about this podcast as a student of life, I just love learning from other people, is hearing everyone's stories and hearing how they have found themselves in the positions they are. It's really interesting. We've met in the last season someone that used to be a lawyer that became a winemaker, people that have overcome different illnesses and hardships and things. And it's just so inspiring. And that's what I just love about community and growing with everyone. I also just have a very strong growth business mindset, and I love hearing about how people grow their business, how they worked through different complications, not necessarily a hardship, but just how they like, oh, I didn't realize this would be a part of business, and they had to problem solve and work through it. And if those are the kind of stories that inspire you and get you engaged, and like, for me, when I say engaged, I mean like it kind of gets me fired up, like, whoa, you did that with your business? That's so cool. I want to go do something like that with my business, or I want to go help somebody else do that. And I just love championing everybody and like seeing their spirit and how they're like just totally taking an idea that they had and making it a reality and like persevering to do it, because so many people have ideas but don't actually do anything with it. And so if you like to see people that actually put their ideas in motion and really move forward with tenacity and gosh, what is the word I'm looking for outside of tenacity? I'm sure some of you are just like screaming at me like, it's this word. But gumption, like just going for it. I love that. So if you love those kind of stories, if you love learning, if you just want to hear how somebody else did it, this is definitely the spot for you. You found the right podcast. As I mentioned, I am just blown away by all of your support. Thank you for those of you that have taken the time to comment and share the podcast, that have texted it to friends, that have listened, that have subscribed. It means so much to me. And like I said before, not just to me, but like to all the guests that have been on the podcast, because you're supporting their business too. I am grateful that you're here. Thank you for starting season 2 with me. I can't wait to show you some of the guests and businesses that we have planned. And again, don't forget to reach out and give me your suggestions. Thank you. Cheers to you. And I can't wait to see you on episode 2. Bye.